Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. My name is Rudy Segura, and tonight I am joined by Joey Chavala. Brother, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, man?
Not too bad, man. I see you're wearing your U.S. shirt.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us, man, it's been great seeing so many games when it comes to the Euro and Copa America, but the sad part is both Mexico and the U.S. have been both eliminated in the group stages, man.
Yep.
How great is that? Feeling the same pain here, huh?
Yeah. It's we're not used to feeling the same type of pain. It's usually one or the other gets the pain, so it's a little weird.
Man, yeah, so we did not record last week. It feels like it's been forever since we last recorded, if we're being honest. But all these games just kind of happened to it'd be hard to compete against those games, man, especially because it was either Mexico or the U.S. playing. But here we are today. There is a couple games. Brazil is currently tied with Colombia 1-1. And Costa Rica, man, winning 2-0 against Paraguay. They still got to score quite a few more goals and hope that Colombia wins by like 5. For them to get a chance. But CONCACAF has been a little surprising, with Panama going into the next round, Canada. Who else?
I'm not surprised about Canada.
Well, no, I would agree with that. Panama has been a little surprising. And
I would say Panama's been surprising just because the United States have been so bad. I don't even think Panama's been very good either.
Yeah, they'll probably be 1 and out when it comes to next round. I mean, you hope not, but
I believe they're going to play Brazil or Colombia. Yeah, they're
out. So yeah, for Coco would be back after getting. Oh my god, I can't believe we didn't get to talk about. But Christian. I mean, if you guys follow the podcast feed, Christian had been doing a great job of doing those recaps, post game for Copa America, and man, I can't believe we didn't get to chat after the fact. But Coco kicking the shit out of Christian Pulisic was hilarious to me. Probably one of my favorite soccer moments. I mean, it was fantastic. Just not because he was kicking Pulisic, just the whole little play was quite funny to me, to be honest.
But players love to kick Pulisic, man. He's like one of those players that just on the field, the opposition just hates him every time.
What was more funny to me, apart from that too, is how quickly he got up. Because he's taking less, powerful kicks or pushes or shoves, and he'll embellish it and be on the floor for a while. But that kick was quite powerful, man, and he sprung up.
Pulisic's a tough dude. He's a tough player. He's an aggressive player. Probably the closest thing in this group we have to a Clint Dempsey or something like that. Still not even that same level of aggressiveness as Dempsey, but it's the closest you're going to get. I mean, you see Pulisic yelling at the refs after the game yesterday. He gets into it.
Yeah, for sure. And the ref what's called didn't shake his hand. That was pretty.
Yeah, okay. I mean, Pulisic just told him to go celebrate with the Uruguay players. Yep. So
yeah, so it
was brilliant.
That was pretty crazy. Yeah, so again, we're back. I know that, again, there's games. I know there's people watching it, but we do need to talk a little bit about Houston sports. It's been a busy one. We completely aren't going to go back to all the games we missed. But talking Dynamo in general, Joey, I mean, Ferreira scoring a hat trick, that we didn't get to talk about. Pretty impressive. He looked okay last game. But it was a tough game, man. Against Charlotte FC, who's been playing so well.
It was a weird one, yeah, for Sebas for this last game. I thought he looked pretty good on the ball at times. I thought his assist to Ali was really nice, but I felt like his ability to read the flight of balls was really lacking. There was a few crosses in, he just timed he timed his run weirdly. He timed where he was gonna appear into the box weirdly, where he would just come too early or come too late and just not be where he needed to be. Especially on a few of Ali's nice crosses. There was one Ali put in gorgeous ball, and Sebas just wasn't there.
Yeah, I think it's obviously going to take a little bit for him to reach full form. That game against DC was just like the perfect storm. Getting that penalty, everybody giving him that opportunity to take it, and then those goals he scored were pretty scrappy and definitely
Mhm.
what you expect from a number 9.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was very Paraguayan number 9 type of thing. Scrappy South American little player.
Yeah, and then like I said, and then the Charlotte game ended up being a win for Houston, 1-0. Overall, the team, held possession like they tend to do. They had few chances. And at the end it just seemed like, both teams were getting tired. Like towards the end, you were maybe thinking, shoot, is Charlotte going to come and get a result, get a draw, get a win. It just didn't happen. So those matches you take them because again, it was a very good Charlotte team as of late, pretty
Mhm.
good form. Any
Heat got them.
takeaways? Yeah, what takeaways do you take from that game, Joey?
I mean, the defense was back to its best. I thought the defense was really, really solid. All four of the back line put in good shifts. Artur as well. Um, I think the Dynamo did a good job really controlling the game for the first 60, 70 minutes. And then, they kind of, once the heat really kicked in and the fatigue and the substitutions came in, because, Charlotte had a pretty weak bench coming off. Then they kind of took their foot off the gas, let
Mhm.
Charlotte kind of do their thing, and they just didn't have the quality or the legs to really threaten in many meaningful ways. I mean, Clark made a really, really nice save in the second half. Outside of that, they didn't really threaten.
Yeah, and again, now it's a quick turnaround. I would suppose people would say that, because mid another midweek game for the Dynamo this time against a very good RSL.
Oh yeah.
This, RSL is not an easy team to play against. They're currently in third place from the Western Conference Final. They have a very good Chicho Arango who keeps scoring goals. Um, a very different team than what the Dynamo have seen lately. A group that works very well together. Similar to the Dynamo, I would say. I think comparison wise, I think they're pretty close. I don't know what you think, Joey. If that is the
Uh,
case, apart from having a prolific goal scorer. Yeah.
yeah, I think in ways they're similar. I think they like to grind out games sometimes. I think Real Salt Lake is a little more better at those blowout games because they have that goal scorer. But I think they both kind of go attack the game in the same type of way at times. They both want to be solid at the back. Attack from or defend from the front. They both like that. Mastroni, he's an old school MLS guy like Ben. He wants to work harder than the other team. That's how he wants to win games. They just have some more top end talent than the Dynamo, so they win. They go out and win these games a little more emphatically, but
Hmm.
I can see the similarities.
Yeah, especially I think last year even they were even more similar, especially when they went into the playoffs and were took it all the way to 3 games. They're just very similar in some aspects. Like you said, I think him being Mastroeni, Pablo Mastroeni, and the way that Ben Olsen set up their teams, it's a little bit similar. Is defensive first, and then kind of find a way to score with when you know a masterclass from their attackers.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be playing again tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Should be a good game. It's going to be a long night. I definitely be watching. Joey, you probably have practice or something, huh?
I'll be watching.
Oh, you'll be watching. All right, cool. But what are your predictions for the match? You think they'll be able to get a result or be their first away loss in quite a bit, man?
Hmm. I don't know if I could see a way they win this game. I think it's gonna be tough. I think they're gonna lose. And I think it's interesting what Ben pointed out in the presser today
Mm-hmm.
that they've had quite a bit of midweek games or games like coming off midweek games against opponents who didn't have a game like
Mm.
just this last like 3 days ago, and that sucks. Like, I mean, I know they have to schedule stuff like this sometimes, but man, I get Ben's frustration because what RSL hasn't played a game since what the 22nd, I think.
Yep, that is right.
So I mean, they're well rested. I mean,
Yep.
Dynamo coming off that absolute grinder of a game in the heat like that. That's a tough ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
And
go to altitude like that too.
let me see. The Dynamo have not lost an away game since LA Galaxy on May 25th. So it's been about a month or
About a
so.
month, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So they drew against Portland 2-2. They drew against Atlanta United 2-2, and then they destroyed DC United
Mhm.
4-1 a couple of weeks ago. So I mean, they find success on the road. I think he sets up his team understanding that they can go out there and get the job done. And it's good to see, man, because it's definitely something that Dynamo fans are not accustomed to, or just Dynamo in general. I don't have it in front of me. I was looking for it. Let me see. We did get a notification of who was going to be out, and I have it here. For the game, I guess this on Wednesday, and this may carry on to the weekend. But Coco Garrasquilla, as we already mentioned, he'll be still in national duty with Panama. We know Nelson Quinones is out. Dan Steris looks like he's going to be out with a lower leg injury. You have Jefferson Valverde, who's also out with a hip injury,
Mhm.
and Mackenzie Gaines, who is questionable with a lower body injury. So I mean, Steris has been somebody that you've seen often, apart from Coco Carrasque, who we already knew was out for a couple weeks already.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean the Gaines and Valverde ones are still just that just sucks. Signed
Hmm.
two guys and both of them were just hurt right away. I mean, Valverde's played some games with. I think he's played one game with the second team, trying to
Hmm.
get to fitness, trying to get acclimated. And it feels like they feel like wasted signings right now, but they're
Yeah,
not.
especially because Arthur just doesn't seem to get a rest, man, and he's been so good. You just hope that he stays fit, doesn't get pick up an injury because he's been vital for the team. And
Mhm.
you played this weekend, you played RSL, and then you're back in the heat of things, literally and figuratively, against LAFC on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. LAFC is not a pushover by any means.
No, no, not at all.
Buanga is back in scoring form.
You ever
They
leave scoring for him?
Right? They have not lost a game. So check this out. They have not lost a game in 11 matches.
Jeez.
The last time they lost was against San Jose. That's crazy. Yep. They lost against San Jose.
And then you got Bogusz is now putting up had like a MVP month.
They've yeah, May 4th. So they've have not lost in nearly 2 months. That's
Yeah, it's
that's
tough one.
incredible. That's incredible. And the U.S. Open Cup and two U.S. Open Cups in between that span. So, yeah, they are going to be a difficult cookie here. You would hope that the weather being in Dynamo's favor, but at the end of the day, man, it just affects both of the teams no matter what. And they'll be coming from a Clásico, so they'll be actually playing. Dynamo play tomorrow, Wednesday. They'll LAFC will be playing 4th of July against
Yep.
LA Galaxy. So,
It's
um,
cool. 4th of July game.
yeah, I
That's the
guess.
Rose Bowl one, isn't it?
Let me see. Yep, it is.
Okay. Okay. That'd be a good game.
9:30 p.m. So that probably I'll be watching that probably because there's no Copa America games tomorrow
No
on
Copa
Thursday.
America games tomorrow. Really?
On Thursday and
Oh,
tomorrow.
Thursday. Okay.
I think both days. Yeah.
Next 2 days. Oh, Paraguay scored.
Oh, I'll take that back. Thursday is Argentina. My bad. It's
Argentina.
only tomorrow.
Oh, against Ecuador. Oh, that'll be a
That'd
wash of a
be
game.
that'd
Argentina
be
gonna kill him.
that'd be here in Houston too. So
Chris gonna have a
wish
good 4th of July.
wish I would be. Yeah, I could say that I would go. But let's finish up with the LAFC. Just I guess your prediction. Just shooting from the hip. we won't be able. We'll write an article the day of. But what are you thinking, man?
Oh man, I mean, they're gonna beat LAFC. That's what's gonna happen.
I think so too. I think there's a good chance,
Yeah, they're gonna beat
especially
them.
knowing that they're playing. I guess a day before the Dynamo
Yeah,
or
I think
after
it's
the
gonna happen.
Dynamo. Yeah. That could probably and Clásicos. Those matches tend to be really heated. Asks a lot from their players. Um, I wish the rivalry between Houston and Dallas would be like that, but it hasn't in quite a few years. And LAFC and LA Galaxy definitely don't like each other. So I expect for it to be a great game for them and for them to feel it, on Friday morning when they wake up.
Hopefully, man, that'd be
Um,
nice. Hopefully the Galaxy smacked them at the Rose Bowl. It'd be great.
Yeah, and then I guess when it comes to the Dynamo, we know that there's two or three more signings coming. Is that what Asher told Tom
Ben
Bogert?
said today one or two.
One or two?
But Ben probably knows less. Honestly, Ben might know less than Tom.
Prob
Knowing
Hey,
how much Tom knows.
yeah, no kidding. Tomorrow there is a press conference to introduce Ezequiel Ponce, the record signing for the Dynamo. I still can't believe it made like about 8 million to get him. I mean, that's just crazy, crazy talk,
Big
man.
chunk of change.
It's a lot of money. It not coming out of my pocket. Well, maybe since I am a season ticket holder, that maybe I chipped in some. But yeah, no, it's incredible that the Dynamo were able to get this signing over the line, and we'll probably be out there covering it. I think Chris is for sure going. I am doing my best to try to go tomorrow as well. It got moved. It was supposed to be at 3 o'clock. Believe they moved it to 2 o'clock. I think Messi asked for that. I don't have any sources, but I think Lionel Messi had something to do with that. Um, Being that they're training in the Dynamo facilities alongside Ecuador. But we'll see
You guys gonna beat him?
what kind of information we get from Ponce. Maybe we get to chat with him and be able to ask him some questions. And if you guys have anything in particular, I know right now it's not comments aren't really active, not a big deal. But feel free to shoot us either a comment here or tag us on Twitter or Instagram, and maybe we can ask a question. If it's a good question, please. I'm not asking stupid question. Um, but I guess this leads me to doing a little bit of housekeeping. Yeah, make sure to follow Bayou City Soccer on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Click the like, retweet, subscribe, whatever it is. And obviously, this podcast you can find on the YouTube channel. If you go into the live tab, it'll stay there. Otherwise, you could find it in the podcast feed wherever you listen to your podcast. Anchor, Spotify, um, Apple Podcasts. So yeah, feel free to give us a like, subscribe, and give us a review, man. Those reviews go a long way as well. Um, and what did I miss anything? Oh, BayCitySoccer.net, obviously, for everything and anything Houston soccer sports. We'll try to keep you up to date on anything happening here. And our sponsors, man, Ugly Guppy, have done a great job of keeping us, giving us some good merch, shirts, polos for us to rep and have our Bayou City logo on it. So feel free to check them out. They do a great job. Um, Creating any shirts, promo things that you may need. So give Carlos Aguilar a ring and he'll hook you up with Ugly Guppy. Um, Jay Hurtado says, good to see you guys. Feels good to see some Dynamo fans out here in LA. Yeah, it does, man. Yes, it does. Um, all right, Joey. Didn't really want to talk too much about the Houston Dash.
Oh man.
But let's talk a little bit about it, and then maybe we can finish up with a little bit Copa America talk before we get out of here.
Absolutely.
All right. So
I didn't watch the Dash games.
I who did they play? blanking. It feels like forever, man. I'm telling you. They
Final games,
played
man.
against KC, and I
Yep.
did watch that game. I was trying to. This is the game that the best part of the game was when they skyrocket that ball into the river, and they were doing their best, the people working there, to recover it, and they did. So
Mm-hmm.
they
They
recovered
found
that
it. Yeah.
ball, and that was probably the biggest thing out of that game. And Shawinga, man, in 3 minutes just killed the game. She had quite a few looks. Jane Campbell did her darnest to keep the team in the game, and it just wasn't enough. Shawinga, the striker for Kansas City, I mean, dude, she's good. She's fast. Uh, she has obviously good pace, acceleration, good ball control, and she could finish. So she was able to find the back of the net twice. And I was trying to see how many goals she has in total. I couldn't remember. Let me see. I can pull it up. She has 11 goals and 6 assists. Pretty good
Dude,
stuff.
she's insane.
Yeah, she's good. Very good.
She stole Nelson Quinones' haircut, but she's insane.
Yeah, no kidding. Looks a lot like it, and she plays similar to her, man. I mean, to Quinones.
Mm-hmm.
Chawinga plays very just powerful. Aren't afraid to like go towards their opponent. But yeah, I mean, not a lot to talk about on that match. I mean, Dash they
Yeah,
just got
it's the dash.
outplayed. Yeah, the Dash is. I mean, look, 28 shots by Kansas City, 9 on target, 6 shots, 2 on target for the Dash. I think Ordonez was absolutely just not there. She was playing purely striker. I know sometimes we've talked about this, Joey, about how she tends to play sometimes a little further back, comes
Yeah,
and
they
tracks the
drift her onto
ball,
the left.
drifts to the one of the wings, kind of more of a number 10 role, tries to disperse the ball. And in this case, she was a lonely island
Mm-hmm.
uh, against the Kansas City, and
This
she,
is what they do with that 9 position. It's weird.
yeah. Oh, and then obviously, the big thing too was Fran Alonso wasn't there due to sickness. Not sure what's happening there, man. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into speculation, but from the
I don't think it's
beginning,
anything.
and again, it could possibly be that, but this team, you look at the numbers, Joey stats, and it just tells you that this team is way worse than they were last year, man.
Yeah, it. It's sad. Like I didn't know it could get worse, but they somehow got worse. It's not good. It's not looking good, man.
No, defensively, I mean, the team just um concedes so many goals. I think last year, like they conceded 22 goals this year already. I believe last year they only had like 11 goals against, and I can check real quick.
Probably right.
They
I mean,
okay, they had 18 goals against
yeah, they're
last year.
somehow worse offensively this year
Yeah, and
without the incredible defending.
so last year they scored 16 goals and conceded 18, and this year they are 11 goals scored and 22 conceded. I mean, it's just bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
it's just bad. There's
the
nothing else about
defensive
it.
record. I think a lot of it is God, I could not remember her name right now.
Mm-hmm.
The right back from last year, in the last bunch of years. Whoa, she went to the expansion team. Oh my God.
Caprice.
Tedesco. Yeah,
Yeah.
Caprice Tedesco. I think her being gone is one of the big reasons for this drop off defensively.
I agree, and even but you know what's funny? I mean, the girl that took her place being Patterson, she's played well. She's
Just playing well
done
going
well,
forward.
but yeah, but defensively, it's a new team from last year. Obviously Katie
Mm-hmm.
Lynn is not in it. Caprice is gone. Um,
Tarsiani's kind of been hit or miss so far.
Yeah, Tarziani, like one day looks like she's like what's it called, the Ramos from Real Madrid, and then the next game she looks like a guy from Mexico, man.
Mm-hmm. She looks like a Tim Ream the other night.
Yeah, exactly. Like she is like, what is happening here? But I don't know. I mean, I know this is a young team in relation of how long they played with each other, new coach, but okay, my question to you is, man, just how long is that the excuse, man? How long is that the excuse, Joey?
It. How long can you make that excuse when there's a new head coach? I mean, you want to give them at least half the season before you really start digging into them, and then we're bad at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's bad. It's really bad, and I don't want to be fret out because I mean the roster sucks as well. It's not like it's just, oh, this coach sucks and this roster is underperforming. I think the roster is performing probably to its level because it's just not a good roster.
I mean, right now, who's your best player on the
Who's
team?
your best?
Who's your
Uh,
best player?
who
I'm not,
knows?
because you Ordonez. Okay, you're looking at Ordonez has 4 goals, but is she really your best player? I mean, Backman
Sophie
is probably
Schmidt.
your.
Well, Jen Campbell's the best player. I mean,
Okay, yeah, you're right,
yeah,
but
but
even then,
if your
he's
goalkeeper is your best player on your roster, you're
that's bad,
probably gonna be struggling.
right?
It
That's
doesn't mean
bad.
against goalkeepers, but goalkeepers are. I don't want to say they're luxury pieces because they're not. Because having a good leader in the back is very important. But to the dash, it feels like that because I mean, if she's not in net, they're
Hmm.
losing games by 4 goals almost every week. So she is a luxury in that sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, outside of her, I mean, who could you say is the best player on the team?
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
probably Sophie Schmidt.
I
If
think a
she's
lot
in
of
her
it
mid
too.
30s.
Let me see. Yeah, and I think, unfortunately for her, like when they celebrate, her thing to me is when they celebrate how many saves she has. I don't think it's a good thing, right?
Not.
And I think she celebrated like 500 saves recently or something like that. It's
Well,
like
it's a good and bad thing. It's a good
it,
thing for her as
it's right.
personally.
But it was the same thing that I would mention about when people would complain. I guess still over here crying about Mexico being so bad. But when Memo Ochoa was, playing for crappy teams and good leagues, he was the best player for them, but they were still getting relegated. They were still losing because
Mhm.
it made him good. Obviously, like Campbell's reaping all the benefits, being called up to the national team, being called up as a reserve for the Olympic team. I mean, she's getting all these
Mhm.
accolades, but you're right. I mean, just what does it help the dash?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you look at like the United States a few years ago in the World Cup when like Tim Howard made like 16 saves or whatever. It was like, oh, we should have, the United States should have beat Belgium in that game. Really? Should they? If goalkeepers making 16 saves, you probably shouldn't have. You probably don't deserve to win anything. It's like that's the dash. Does
Right,
the dash
exactly.
deserve to win any games when your goalkeeper's making 8 saves to bail you out every game?
Yeah, I mean, how many saves did she make this last game? I said they had 28 shots, so she probably saved 6 of them. Let me see. She had 7 saves. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
7 saves is pretty good, but your team is not bailing you out. There's just no
nothing to
offensive.
take the pressure off her.
Yeah, and I think whenever Fran Alonso was hired, the big thing that he mentioned was how this team was going to be extremely an attacking team. He expected to score a lot of goals, and it's just not happening, man. And I understand that the players may not be all there for what you're looking at, but they've brought in players. It'd be different if they were sitting with the same players that they had last year, and
Yeah,
that's
they
not the
brought in
case.
a lot of players that are mediocre.
Hmm.
I mean, look at LeBron Putingan was the end of last year, but then Ellen and well, Patterson's been good. Who else did they bring in?
I mean,
Yuki,
yeah, Andressa Alves, obviously she showed up last year, but towards the end.
Time
But
Putingan. But yeah, they're all just like really average.
yeah, Amanda West, I mean, she's a rookie. What you can't really expect too much from her. Olivieri, man, she's hot and cold so often. It's hard to even figure out what she can provide. Um, like I said, in the beginning of the season when you had the Ordonez and Maria Sanchez, I just didn't see much of anything. And then Sanchez obviously gets sent to San Diego, barely plays there, so that was a good move on their part. And
Oh
then
yeah,
Ordonez has stepped up. I mean, again, she definitely has improved of trying to be that focal point for the team, and
there's just no way she could do anything.
she can do it by herself. I agree. Michelle Losey has been, I don't want to say bad, but
Oh,
she's not
she's
really
bad.
providing anything, man. She's just not providing anything. You know that she's a one trick pony. She's gonna outrun everybody on the field, but once she gets close to the opponent's box, there's nothing really there. There really isn't. Bagman, she's probably your most talented player, I think.
Who?
Um, Bagman, Ramona Bagman.
Oh yeah.
I I think she's a
I even forgot about her. She's been like she kind of just fell off the last few games. I feel.
mhm. Yeah, she had like she when she started, and I keep talking with ice in my mouth, but she started play very well. Obviously, was getting opportunities, getting looks. She even get she scored. I guess in a home game when the Dash won 3-0.
hmm
She looked every game. She looked better and better and better. And now we're seeing the opposite. We see her like drop off, pretty much since that game. To be honest, it just she's been disappearing, and that's a lot of the players, man. They're just really good one game, and then out of nowhere they drop 2 games, and it's just what is the issue? What is the problem? Like it's just really hard to even figure out the scheme that they're trying to play, man. It's just they're hard. Tarsiani was the worst rated player against that Kansas City Curry
I'm not
via
surprised she wasn't
football.
good.
She was 4.5. Like she was the worst. It's crazy. She had 42 touches. She won 2 tackles out of 3. She had 82% of her passes were accurate. Yeah, I mean it's she led to 2 errors that led to goals. So your 2 goals were her fault, basically. That's what Full Mob's telling me. She had 2 blocks, 2 clearances, 1 interception, 7 recoveries. I don't know, man. Hot and cold. I'm telling you, this team is just it can be dreadful at times. And now they'll be taking on Chicago Red starts on Saturday. It'd be a noon game, so a pretty early game, Central Time. I mean, there's other games that people are probably gonna watch, man. Euros. There are Euros that day. That has
Is
to
there
be right.
Euros that day? I think there is. Yeah.
Yep.
It's good,
England
yeah.
against Switzerland. Are you gonna watch Dash or are you gonna watch England versus Switzerland? I mean,
Ooh.
I mean, you get half of that game before the Dash starts, but still, I mean,
Mm,
and then Netherlands against Turkey be at 2 o'clock. But anyways, and Panama plays
I'll
that
probably
day.
watch England.
So I mean, it's just difficult, man. I feel bad for the Dash fans. I mean, they're so devoted. They love their team. They're very positive. But I guess to the point that you can just be as so much positive. I think eventually it just drops off. You need results. You need to be able to go to a game. Hell, even if they don't win, you want to see them score a goal, and sometimes that doesn't even happen. That makes it difficult,
Yeah, it
um,
absolutely does.
to get into the game. And I've told you guys, like I've followed the Dash. Well, let's take it back. I know who the Dash were for a long time. And in 2020, once I got into it, I started watching a little more games. And I think this season specifically, I think I've watched the most Dash games I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And I could see why
Sorry.
people it frustrates people. Yeah. It's like it's frustrating. Like you want them to do good, you want to cheer for them, and you just don't see anything, no
Nothing.
sign of life, man. And it's difficult. Again, it's very difficult. The one that finally showed some sign of life, man, Dynamo 2. They
Oh
got
yeah. Oh, we knew that was happening.
yeah. You talked to Kenny. Kenny made it sound like he guaranteed a win.
Oh, he guaranteed that win. He knew it was happening. That guy.
And I mean, you get the guys, they were drafted. You had Silla and Giaffi scoring on that match, apart from Isaiah Reed, man. Good stuff, man, from the rookies.
It was beautiful. They played really well.
I think Silla has slowly progressed into one of their best players. It took him a little bit, but he's a player.
He is so good. He's so
Giamfi,
good.
I still have some questions on him. Young guy.
I'm not.
Um,
I'm not too impressed with him.
yeah, just from what I've seen, I know he scored a couple goals and stuff, but it just hasn't been really impressive. And then the other guy that maybe we should talk about. It seems that Soto, Ezekiel Soto, looks like he's on his way out. USL Championship. Did you see which team
Yeah,
was it?
yeah. He's going to Charleston.
Weren't
So
they affiliated with the Dynamo at one point?
yeah, they used to be.
The Battery.
Correct.
Okay.
That's where Beto Avila went last year too.
Beto, I think Memo. Did Memo play there?
He probably did.
I don't, I don't know. I kind of want. I feel like he did, but maybe not. But I mean, it sucks. Just talking, sitting on Soto's topic for right now. Sucks to see that happen. It looks like he had been playing very well last year, especially. He barely gets any minutes this year, and when he does, he just
He's
doesn't
not
really
in
do
any
much,
minutes
man.
really.
But when he's played, he just it's like you're playing a man down. It just he wasn't really providing much, and um, obviously he had been getting called up to the younger um national teams
Mm-hmm.
for the US and is performing well, and now he just kind of disappeared, man. And you hope that this loan allows him to get more minutes that he wasn't seeing under Dynamo 2, which it's difficult to see if there's going to be anything good that comes out of it, Joey.
Yeah, and it's for that team right now. I think there's a lot of competition for the Dynamo 2 team right now. There's so many different young players that are kind of just popping up out of nowhere. And Kenny seems to really be into rotating the team this year. And,
Mm-hmm.
Soto just never touched the team. I think it's good to get him an opportunity to leave and, opens doors for more guys.
Yeah, that's for sure. And again, the draft picks have been playing very well. I know that I think at one point early in the season they spoke to general manager Pat Onstad about Soto and whether he was a 9 or what role. And I think they mentioned that they really saw him as a number 10.
Yeah, that
And
was in the offseason. Yeah, you're
right,
right.
and if you're talking about him being a number 10, I mean that's where Uzma Silla is basically taking over and playing, more of that creative midfielder for the team.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been very good. He's been solid. Scoring goals. He's just your playmaker. Diego Gonzalez has looked like to improve with the way that Silla has progressed and the rest of the teams around them. And just Soto's not winning those, practice, I guess, competitions that lead him to sit on the bench or not even make the team, dude.
Yeah, he's just not better than other guys, and that's just kind of what happens. Soccer is cutthroat. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't play well enough in training, you don't show enough on the pitch, someone else will. And I mean, it's good for Soto to get a move. I think I'm happy for him personally to get a move to USL and just ride the bench in MLS Next Pro.
Right.
For Charleston has some good forwards. Don't think they're having as good of a season this year. Or I might be wrong. Oh, they are having a good season. It's Pittsburgh it's the Pittsburgh that's having a bad season that dropped off. That's what I was thinking about. Who's Charleston's striker right now?
I
Let's
just saw
see.
that they just posted a video the Dynamo did like a couple days ago about him and how he's been playing with country as well. So
I think Nick Markanich is their striker right now.
for Battery.
Charleston, yeah. But he was don't quote me on this. I believe he was a San Jose guy. I think. I could be wrong. No, I'm wrong. He's Cincinnati. God damn it. Who am I thinking of San Jose? It's like I think it's Markovich or something. That's what I'm thinking of San Jose. I don't know. I'm crazy.
Yeah. So, anyways, it puts the Dynamo back in a bind of like it looks like they're finally developing some talent, and it's gone. Like, and when it comes to the pure homegrowns, the guys that have been here in Houston playing for the academy, they're just struggle, man, and that's kind of leaves like a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth when you see stuff like that happen.
I think in a way, yes, but also, I mean, we said the same thing about Juan Castilla last year, and where's Juan Castilla right now?
For sure, I agree.
So
And
it's maybes. They're all maybes. It's like if a player doesn't want to be here and they're not stepping up enough, just let them leave.
I'm trying to think of the guy that just did that. That he was in the academy, and him and his brother left,
Oh
and
yeah.
you know
And
what I'm
they're
talking
just
about.
yeah, I know exactly
The
what you're
guy
talking
was
about. And
like a couple preseasons ago. He was like amazing, scored a couple goals. Obviously,
yeah, and
didn't
where's
get
this guy?
any time. He was with the academy, and then he just left. And
Yep.
I don't know what happened to him. And so, but just yeah, you're right. They're all maybes, but it you hope that the maybe it's a good maybe. I mean, everybody's looking for uh an academy prodigy, I suppose, when it comes to it. Everybody's looking for Lionel Messi from the Masia, or
Mhm.
a Liverpool academy kid that just comes and starts and gets a ton of minutes, and it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. I mean, you mentioned Juan Castilla. We can go Marcelo Palomino,
Yeah,
um,
him
Daniel
too.
Rios. I mean, the guy just
Who?
disappeared. Exactly. All these
El
guys that,
Salvador national team
yeah,
player.
they get hyped up. I don't think he plays soccer anymore, to be honest.
Really? He went to Vegas
Yeah, he
to the
did.
Lights, and I don't know what
The
happened to
last
him.
time I saw, I don't think he had a team, and it's sad. I mean, these guys are like 19 years old, and I guess they capped their talent, capped at 17, and that's it.
Yeah, he doesn't have a team.
And so you hope that these guys are able to break into the first team, and you would think, with how people say how the MLS is such a bad league, you would think that these guys would go through the team, and that is not even the case. And again, then they find themselves not playing on a team. You mentioned Juan Garcia. Obviously, he went back to Colombia. I mean, Marcelo Palomino is playing second division in Sweden. I mean, it's not the
Yeah,
best
he
options,
went to a different team. At least he got on a better
Yeah,
team.
and I think he tore his ACL.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, poor dude.
So yeah, so
That
it's one of those
sucks.
that, I mean, you really, as a homegrown, or players, the home team is or the hometown is gonna definitely root for them to go far and kind of become something with the first team. But it just sucks that it doesn't happen, man. It sucks. And Dynamo 2, they'll be playing against Ventura County FC, which I believe that is LA Galaxy's team. 9
Yes.
o'clock on Friday, right? Yep.
On Friday. Okay, okay.
So they'll be playing on Friday. A lot of soccer, man, for
We
again
getting
for
Kenny
Houston
before that?
sports. We should, I believe. Oh, that's a good
Hope
call.
so.
We didn't get him today, so you would hope that you would get him on Thursday. But being a Friday game in Ventura County, I am gonna predict and say no. We won't
Aw.
get Kenny. We'll get.
Do we have the Kenny presser from last week on our YouTube yet?
You know what? I believe so,
Dude, if you haven't watched that yet, watch it.
and I have not watched it. I don't think I did.
That was the most electric press conference you will ever see from a second division coach ever in any sport ever.
Nope.
He
Joe,
was awesome.
he did not put it up there. I wonder if we got it. Yeah, it's not there.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I see. Because man, Chris is on it. He put today's.
Yeah, I guess we didn't get it. That's weird.
He put presser today. Yep. Maybe I don't. Maybe we didn't get it. We did not. And then obviously, if you're there, might as well watch the interview that Joey did with Griffin Dorsey. If you haven't listened to it,
Yeah, my
it was a
boy.
pretty good one. So yeah, there's, again, that's just a shout out to go check out the YouTube page, YouTube channel, and subscribe to it, man. So if you want to keep up with the pressers, or interviews or the podcast, check it out there. All right, Joey. Don't want to ask you about your prediction for this game. We know that it's mostly pain for Kenny Bundy's boys, but yeah, let's finish off
No, they're
minute
winning.
45. Let's talk a little bit about Copa America and Euros. Just your overall thoughts, man. Have you enjoyed what tournament have you watched more? I guess, and which one have you what have you enjoyed out of those tournaments?
I mean, so let's start with the Euros. I think the Euros have been terrible so far. Like these players look gassed. They all look like they're just like running out of ideas in the final third. And then when they finally do get in front of goal, they just miss every chance. There's been a lot of just like awful games. Like everyone's like loving to crap on England right now, but like France looked the same way. Portugal looked the same way. I think literally everyone but Spain and then the Netherlands today has looked just kind of
Yeah, the Netherlands 3-0 was kind of
yeah. They
surprising
woke up. I mean, you
because
look at Germany too this round. I mean, Germany they had the chances to beat Denmark 5-6-0. They were all over them. Schmeichel had a really good game in goal. I mean, like Havertz had so many chances, and I'm a
right.
big Kai Havertz fan. I'm an Arsenal fan, but yeah, he was rough in that game in front of goal. And we've seen that all tournament from so many teams. It's been really bad. I mean, own goals, the leading scorer of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every goal seems to be an own goal or a penalty or a set piece. It's been really ugly. I mean, there's some juicy games coming up in this next round. Like, I think
Yeah,
what
Spain
Spain,
versus
Germany.
Germany.
Ooh, that's a good game. And then what France, Portugal.
I'm gonna shout out Portugal, France on Friday. If you're in Houston and everybody listening from Houston, our friends from the Alliance of France in Houston, they're gonna be hosting a watch party for that, and I'm
Ooh,
off, so I will probably be there. So if you want to go hang out and watch France versus Portugal with a lot of French people, make it out there. Look it up. I'm gonna post it on our social media with more information. But man, I would highly suggest you come hang out at the French Alliance and catch that game with a lot of rowdy French. Hopefully they win because you don't want some sad French people. That's the least thing you want. But yeah, no, you're right. I think those are probably the better matches. And then obviously you have the Netherlands taking on Turkey and England against Switzerland. All right, 8 teams left. Who's winning it, man? You
I'm
you were
just
you were on the
let's go
Germany
game by
train.
game. Let's go game by game.
All right.
I think Germany beats Spain.
Ooh.
I
Okay.
think France beats Portugal. And then from that side, then I think Germany beats France. On the other side, I got England beating Switzerland,
Okay.
and then Netherlands are going to beat Turkey as well. And I think we're going to get the. I'm
So
going to go
you
with the
get
Netherlands. I'm going to go the Netherlands are going to beat England. Then we're going to get a Germany
okay.
Netherlands final with Germany winning. That's what I
Ooh.
got.
Okay. That'd be a good match, man. Germany against the Netherlands would be
Kai
a good match.
Havertz hat trick in the final.
I think my prediction one was a France England final
Still very
with
realistic.
with France winning. So who
See
knows,
it.
man? At this point, I'm with you. I think France were, apart from obviously Germany being the host team and just getting that, everything in their favor. Germany having, I mean, sorry, France, they're just struggling, man. They have what they've scored a total of 3 goals, which is
Yeah, it's true.
incredible for how big favorites they were. And I understand that Mbappe got hurt really early on, and it hasn't been the same Mbappe. Even though he scored against Poland from a penalty kick and all that stuff, but yeah, just the way that they've gone. I mean, getting an own goal and late in the match against Belgium to give them the win, it's just not impressive. And you hope that
Oh,
they just turn it on because Portugal, I mean, their goalkeeper was like brilliant. He scored, saved like 3 goals. Dude's on fire. So they're gonna be in a completely different vibe, and then everybody rooting for Ronaldo to get another major trophy. So it's gonna be a very emotional. But man,
people
yeah,
really root. that? I'm not.
I'm not. I'm talking. I'm talking about his teammates. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
they'll play for the old
Screw
guy. They'll play
Ronaldo.
for the old guy.
I wanna see Neuer and Thomas Muller and Tony Cruz get another trophy for Germany. That's what I wanna see.
And right now, the Costa Rica game ended. So Costa Rica 2-1 Paraguay. That means that Colombia and Brazil move on. Uh,
Shocker.
and yeah, exactly. It was gonna be very difficult for Costa Rica to get in. I think they needed like Brazil to lose by like 4 goals.
Yeah, they need to win and cover up I
Yeah.
think a +5 goal difference. I mean, that could have been doable. If they won their game like 3-0 and
Mhm.
Brazil lost like 2-0. It was doable.
So now what the quarterfinals they look, you have Argentina versus Ecuador. That'll be on Thursday. Friday, you have Venezuela against Canada. Saturday, you have Colombia versus Panama, and then Uruguay playing Brazil. Uruguay playing Brazil.
Oh, that's a game and a
That's
half.
a
Oh my
final, man.
god. That's
That's a
a that's
final.
a good game.
Yeah. That's
Ooh.
that's gonna be a very good one. So yeah, out of those 8 teams, man, who you think may win it? I'm trying to see if I can find the knock.
I
Okay,
think
here it
Argentina
goes.
win it.
So you be Argentina, Ecuador would go
Yeah.
against the winner of Venezuela and Canada.
So Argentina's gonna win and Venezuela, Canada.
That's,
Man, Canada, both teams look pretty good in this tournament.
yeah,
Uh I think somehow Venezuela might have more MLS players than Canada's.
yeah.
Oh, Venezuela's it's like the past and present MLS All Star team on that team. There's they have like Caceres and like Soteldo, like all these like former MLS Venezuelan players on that team.
Bunch of bust
Yeah,
in
Soteldo was a
MLS.
massive bust with Toronto.
And then on the other side you will have again Uruguay playing Brazil and then Colombia, Panama. So
Colombia is gonna destroy Panama.
yeah, I agree with that. I
Poor
think
Coco.
it's gonna be
And then
difficult for them.
and Brazil.
Man,
Hey,
Uruguay's my
Brazil's just better than Uruguay, but I think Uruguay might be a better unit. I think
yes.
Brazil have better players, but
Like
Uruguay.
talent wise, Brazil's always gonna be above pretty much
And
anybody.
I
It's
really
gonna be
like the way Bielsa's approached this team. He's kind of taken back some of his Bielsa-isms and simplified the game a little more to fit the international mold, and I think he's done a really good job of that. I think his player selection has been really on point. That's such a tough game.
it cracks me up that Copa America has the bronze match, so third place. Because
Yeah,
I don't think Euro does.
I think it does too. Euros does too.
Let me see. Do
I
they?
think so, unless they got rid of it this year.
No, well, it doesn't show it on the knockout thing.
No, I don't know.
So possibly
Here's the thing
not.
about Copa America, man, over the Euros. I mean, the Euros for this round, we're watching freaking Georgia play and like Romania and
Right.
Austria. The Copa America just gets right into it, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the only not like fireworks match is probably Canada Venezuela. If
And
you're
I
an
mean,
MLS fan, it
it
is because
cuts.
there's so many fun players from MLS. So
Yeah, and I mean sorry, it cuts the fat pretty quickly, right?
yeah,
Because you don't
yeah,
have any
very
third
quickly.
place. Group D was probably the only one that everybody kind of got right. Colombia, Brazil going through, Costa Rica, Paraguay not making it. Then Group C, obviously we're all shocked about the U.S. getting eliminated. Bolivia,
We're
I think
shocked. I'm not shocked.
knocked out. Well, you know what I mean, in the sense of like I think a lot of people thought Uruguay and U.S. will come out of it. Panama and Bolivia probably eliminated. Then Group A, Venezuela being top of the group with 3 wins. I get pretty shocking, just because it seemed like they were below some of this other teams. I was very pessimistic from the beginning. I really thought that Mexico was probably going to struggle and not make it out of the group stage,
Good
and
call.
I called it. So it just looking at the team, it's just not even close. And I was telling Rodrigo that I was talking to him, and I'm like, there's just the talent pool is just not there, man. It's just not there. And the
Yeah.
way that they just eliminated players are like Hector Herrera, Memo Ochoa, players they can still play and kind of help the younger generation that is trying to make it to the World Cup.
Mhm.
Just learn from them. You can't just cut those players and start from scratch when there's no, none
You
of that
can't watch
leadership,
that
man.
Mexico team and tell me Hector Herrera wouldn't make them better.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can't tell me that a Memo Ochoa is not going to be a better goalkeeper than what was out there. It just,
Mhm.
you can't go into this big tournaments and taking three goalkeepers that altogether had only like 7 starts for the national team. It's just you don't do
It's
stuff like
similar
that.
issues to the United States as
Yeah,
well. I mean, there's like a whole lost generation of American players that would
right.
be like your guys who are like 30 to 35 right now.
Well, and the big
That age group of players for Americans just kind of disappeared. They never reached a high level, and they're all retired or bench players in MLS, and it's like we're
but
missing that kind of
but I
leadership
think
there.
but exactly because if you look back, it was just the US not making that 2018 World Cup, they
Yeah,
just exiled everybody
yeah,
that was involved and had any kind of minutes or anything.
hmm
And the difference between what they did with Mexico and the US is the US had so many young players already playing abroad, getting meaningful minutes. You look at the team now and they're not even, most of them are under 25 still, and they're still playing in pretty good teams. Yes, they're not your
yeah,
top. If you're going to compare them to an Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, they're not there yet, but they're in a way better position than what Mexico is. I mean, all these guys that they brought in are guys that are barely breaking into the Liga MX teams, which doesn't mean a lot. You
no,
know,
it doesn't.
it
So,
doesn't, and there's not any talent like there. I think I was looking. I think the U.S. had like 200 and something people. I think no, like 150 players playing abroad, and that just means that in Europe,
mhm.
it could be Greece, lower divisions, but they're in Europe, and I think Mexico had 15. I know for sure they called up 7,
Mhm,
and all of them. The only one that was getting actual playing time was Edson Alvarez, and he looks like he's going to be out for a while with some kind of
mhm.
um, tear in his knee. So it's just what's happening. I
I
know that 12man had like that rant. Is like I feel like somebody from Mexico needs to have that rant,
oh,
man.
the what are we doing rant? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think part of the problem with the player pool right now is the United States, when you're not calling up any like MLS players or anything, when you don't have that, again, you don't have that generation of players who'd be like top players at their MLS clubs or with that
Mhm.
experience like you had in those older groups. Like you look at the 2014 World Cup group, a
Yeah,
lot of those guys were captains of their MLS clubs, you know, first three guys on the team sheet at their MLS clubs. And so they're used to being in that like alpha position in their
right.
team. Like a Graham
Yeah,
Zusi, like Matt Beasler, Kyle Beckerman, Nick Raimondo, Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, Chris Wondolowski, all those guys. Now the difference is you have guys like Weston McKennie and Eunice Musa and Florian Balogun who are kind of like they're on these good teams and they play minutes, but
mhm,
they're kind of like thought of as expendable players in a
right.
way. I mean, Juventus is trying to get rid of McKinney. Musa's very much in it of the team. Balogun's not one of the first names on the team sheet either. It's like they don't have that big alpha mentality of the players on their team when they need to be for the national team. The only person who does is Christian Pulisic and Anthony Robinson. I think those are the only two players on this entire roster that you could say are top 5 players at their club teams.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, I think you always need a good mixture of the
hmm
players, whether they're playing abroad or they're
hmm
local. You
And
need
to
you need
add
it.
to it as well, a
You
lot of
need
the
it.
players who would be those alpha guys at their MLS clubs now, they end up going over to Europe to play for these not so high level clubs,
Right.
and you kind of lose some of that star power with them. Like I think now you're kind of your top end MLS American guys are really it's just what's Georgie Mihalovic, it's Jesus Ferreira who can never stay healthy. Am I missing anyone?
I mean that's it when it comes to the forward.
Christian Roldan is still like
I'm a big fan of him.
I love Christian. I think
What
Christian
about
Ronaldo.
Jordan Morris? I
Yeah,
mean,
Jordan Morris is still a really good
he
player
can
as
still
well, but
play. Defensively, probably Walker Zimmerman would be a
it was
guy
Marcus
that would
Zimmerman.
have.
Yeah, Marcus Zimmerman and Miles Robinson.
Yeah,
That was stupid forgetting them. Matt Miazga as well.
yeah,
But yeah, the list is so small compared to what it used to be. I mean,
right.
almost every team back in 2014 had a American as one of their best players, and it's not the case anymore. And
No.
it does hurt the game whether you like MLS or not. I mean, I look at Aiden Morris. Is Aiden Morris really going to become that much better of a player
And
going to
Middlesbrough,
Middlesbrough? Maybe.
yeah,
Will he ever be Middlesbrough's best player? No, probably not. If he stays with the Crew, may he be the Crew's best player at some
yeah,
point? Probably, yeah.
yeah.
You could argue for it right now. I don't think he's Cucho. I think Cucho is probably the best player on that
And
team, but he's it's not that far off.
talking about like the two, especially those two, obviously knowing that Mexico and the U.S. that's what we're referring to are part of the countries hosting the World Cup with Canada. Canada has been a completely different beast because most of the Canadian, the Canadian teams aren't pretty much non-existent when it comes to that pool. It's more of like the ones playing in MLS, right? The
Yeah.
three teams in MLS, and that's very small of a pool to pull from. So most of their guys are going to play in Europe in some kind of form.
Yeah.
Um,
They have really
but
good players from MLS in there. I mean, Osorio still got it. Larea, Ad Kudbe,
yeah, what's his name?
Jacob Schaffelberg.
Schaffelberg. He's very good. No, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that the you can't really say you're pulling from that national league because they don't have they don't have one. It's from the MLS.
Well, they have the Canadian Premier League, but yeah, the Canadian Premier League is not thought
But
of as very big.
for especially from Mexico and from the MLS, they just keep doing tournaments between them, and we know a lot of it. It's all about money. It is what it is, and you're trying and you're hoping that you're building that competitiveness, especially for I would say for the Mexican side more. But then you look at the type of rules that they have in Liga MX.
Hmm.
They have way too many internationals on each team. They basically debut players when they're like 23 years old. I mean, a 23-year-old Lionel Messi already had like 100 and something games
Yeah,
under his belt. It just you're not creating anything, and then these guys they come in, they play well, and they just stay in Mexico. You can't really export a 23-year-old because you're going to be asking for way too much money compared to going to Brazil, going to Argentina, getting a 17, 16-year-old player for a couple million instead of paying this giant tab for what should be already a made player. So it's just incredible the way that, and again, it's mostly I see it on the fault of the Liga MX more than the MLS. I feel MLS has done a good job on providing players.
hmm,
Now it's different that the coach may not be taking advantage of bringing those players in, man.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I don't know, agent man. I don't know if I
Uh,
agree with that. Liga MX has better quality, but MLS has better
I think
management.
MLS is better top end quality than Liga MX. I think Liga MX is deeper rosters.
Yeah, I think Liga MX there's such a big drop off between teams. I think out of the so many teams that are there, I think that there's just a big drop. Like you have some six good teams and the rest, it just doesn't really matter. And MLS, obviously, there's more, but it's more competitive. And but again, it all goes apart from the Liga MX being competitive or not. If you really look at every team, you look at Rayados, you look at Tigres, America, look at their team, look at their starting 11. Tell me how many Mexicans are there, how many Mexican players are actually getting minutes. It's not many. It really isn't.
No,
And
Club America,
whenever
one of their best players is American.
right. And so whenever you go and try to bring those players into the national team, it just doesn't happen. And I'm not gonna say this because I'm a Chivas fan, but the saying was always like if Chivas is doing well, then the Mexican national team is doing well, and that was true for the most part because obviously Chivas only fields Mexican players, And when Chivas is doing well, then those players are in really high form and good form, and they come into the national team and they actually play well still. And but your hopes is to get a mixture of players. You want some that are like playing in, and it doesn't have to be the biggest team in the world. Like you don't need a Rafa Marquez playing in Barcelona. I mean, it would be great to have that, or it'd be great to have like an Hugo Sanchez playing in Real Madrid. When he did, but you kind of need a good mixture. And I think, Joe, you mentioned like the 2014 World Cup for the US or even the 2010 World Cup for the US squad. And I look at like a 2006 World Cup squad for Mexico. To me, is probably to this day one of the best squads ever to play for
Mm-hmm.
Mexico because they had so many good players playing abroad. You had Borghetti playing in Bolton, getting minutes there in the Premier League. Obviously, you have Rafa Marquez coming from winning and starting in a Champions League final. And then there's a lot of other guys that you had like what's his name? Pavel Pardo, Chicago Fire legend, but he
Mm-hmm.
was he was in his maybe late 20s and he was playing very well. He plays that World Cup. He goes to play for Stuttgart, and he helps win a title for Stuttgart. Him and Osorio, like they're just some players that were you could just tell that they were very good.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're like you're saying. I mean, if you have a 27-year-old playing in your national league, I mean, who's a 27-year-old right now in MLS? Is Zimmerman 27, 28, somewhere around
I
there?
think Zimmerman's older than that now. I think Zimmerman's about 30 now.
Possibly. But,
Zimmerman is 31. I think Miles Robinson might be
okay.
27.
Yeah. So if you have a player,
Miles Robinson is 27. Yeah.
okay. So let's take, for example, Robinson, right? You bring him to Copa America. He plays very well, and he's in the prime of his career. You see maybe a team picks him up in Europe. Against Stuttgart was middle of the table team, maybe lower at that point before
Stuttgart.
they. Well, I'm talking about like when it happened for
Oh,
Osorio
okay.
and for Pardo. And
Okay, yeah,
those
you're
guys
probably
come
right.
in and do the something that not a lot of people were thinking was going to happen and win a championship. Obviously at the time you had other players like Kadera and you had Mario Gomez in that team, but it was one of those that if you could have that path of having players that are in their prime, like I said, they're very good. They're getting a ton of minutes for their team currently, and if they're able to make that jump, they make that jump, man, and it translates usually. And there's nothing like that for both the U.S. and for Mexico. And if I look at both pools and both squads, the Mexico squad is like light years behind the U.S. currently, man. And
Yeah,
and
I
it's just
agree.
been like that for the last 4 or 5 years. It's
And the
just
United States isn't even that good. So,
yeah, and well, I mean, of course, yeah, it sucks that the way they went out, but I mean, if you really look at it, Uruguay didn't trash them, 1-0. You
yeah, I mean, that was good. That wasn't even a bad performance against Uruguay. I
right.
mean,
It just didn't
but
happen.
I think people have
The biggest fault, if we go back, is the
it's the
Panama
red card.
game. It's a
It's the red card.
exactly. It's a
Yeah, I
Panama
mean,
game.
the game against Bolivia, they didn't finish their chances, but they played well. It was a good
Yeah,
game. It was took care of business, 3 points, clean sheet, no complaints. And then the game against Uruguay, I mean, you lose 1-0 to Uruguay in a
that's
pretty
nothing.
hard fought game and a goal that was kind of cheap from them. It was a pretty good,
It
pretty
was
decent
even. I
performance.
mean,
Yeah,
50-50 possession, bro.
I mean, they
The
matched with Uruguay, and then
yeah, it,
yeah, the Panama game was just a disaster. I mean, you get a red card early in the game. It's just it happens. It changes games. It sucks.
yeah, and that's why to me, like they're very different to me, just between Mexico and the U.S. And you can say, I mean, Mexico literally lost by a goal. That was the goal difference. That was
Yep.
it. That's all and it was one of those that. But whenever you see the way that it's made up, and you see I feel like we talked or I rant for like 20 minutes, but what I was trying to say is like what sucks too is this teams are the host nations for the 2026 World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of pressure. There's not a lot of stress because they're already in.
They're
They're
already
not
qualified.
gonna they're not needing to prove a point. They don't need to go to El Salvador. They don't need to go to Cucutatlan and all those stadiums in Central America where they are going to be a problem. They already made it. The U.S. I know is going to be smarter by probably playing abroad and playing teams that actually matter, while Mexico is going to.
No, I bet you they don't.
Yeah, and possibly, but for instance, I think Mexico. I looked at who they had scheduled. I mean, they already had two. They had New Zealand, man, a powerhouse of a team. They'll be playing New Zealand September 7. They'll be playing Canada. Obviously, good matchup there, but it just seems like they just and all this game is being in the U.S. I would like for them to go, and who cares, man? You go play in Europe, go play in South America. Maybe get a friendly with Brazil in Brazil. Like, make yourself be competitive, even if you get trash. I feel like you'll learn something instead of being trash by what's that team, Azerbaijan or someone like that
Azerbaijan,
that
yeah.
that beat them. So
You're
yeah, no,
probably right, yeah.
yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, as a fan that follows the team, and I was laughing because I was sending my dad a picture. I'm like when after Mexico ended up getting eliminated, I'm sending a picture. I was wearing the Mexico jersey, and I put like a clown face on over my face. I'm like, look at me, here like an idiot. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and then to me, the Nations League and CONCACAF, it just doesn't work, man. I just don't think it creates a lot of competition as much as they
No.
want to make it, and it's not the same. Nations League in Europe, hell yeah, I think that's great for teams like Georgia, Slovenia, Slovakia. Like they're getting competition, and you could tell whenever they go into the Euros, but it's very different whenever you do it with teams that are very good in Copa America. It's just different, man.
I agree.
But Joey, I think we've touched a lot on this. Oh wait, did you say who was gonna win? I don't think you
Who's going to
did.
win the Copa?
Yeah, just go with right now from the 8 teams that are left. What are you thinking?
Argentina.
Argentina. All right, cool. Yeah, I have Uruguay. I'm still hoping Uruguay, but man, Uruguay Brazil. That's
It's a
gonna be
tough
crazy.
game.
We're gonna
Yeah,
come
they're
back
gonna, if they're
here.
gonna win it, they gotta be able to win a game like that. So
Yeah, we're gonna come back here on Tuesday, and one probably they'll be eliminated, brother. But Joey, thanks again for joining us today, man.
of
Great to
course,
have you, like always. Don't forget, guys, again to check out our social medias. Really appreciate all the support that you guys give us. Don't forget to hold it down and keep it forever orange. We'll see you next time.